I thought these guys had disappeared. I cannot believe we found one. Boy, did we find something good this week. So, for those of you that are new to the channel, I'm dropping baited cameras all around the Indo-Pacific in search of big sharks and rays. Now, so far we've ticked off some really cool things from the hit list, including the biggest bony fish in the sea, the Mola, the brown-banded bamboo shark, and also the marbled stingray. But make sure you stick around to the end of this video, because this week we actually ticked a couple more things off the hit list, including one of my favourite species of shark. And this guy might well be one of the most magnificent creatures in the ocean, so stick around to the end, you do not want to miss this. So this week we actually dropped a few cameras down about 40 metres on the reef here, and I've been hearing some stories this last week of some big sharks that have been sighted in the area, so I was pretty hopeful that we might get one on film. Here's the footage from drop 1. It was a familiar face that turned up first. This is a green jobfish. There are also some bluefin trevally swimming past, as well as this great barracuda that seemed to be being followed by a group of small fish that were probably after its scraps. We also had a new fish for this series. This is a monster giant trevally, and I'm sure we'll be seeing more of these in future videos. Now, if you saw my previous video, this next fish will look pretty familiar. I still cannot get over how big this fish is, and it seems like he's going to become a channel regular. Check out how he appears from the deep. This is a huge honeycomb moray eel. Honeycomb morays are also referred to as laced morays or leopard morays, and they're one of the largest species of moray we see here, reaching lengths of up to 1.7 meters. I'm pretty sure this guy is near his max size. He hung around for quite some time, trying to figure out how to get into the bait cage before skulking off back into the depths. Unfortunately, we didn't record any sharks or rays on this drop, but I had a really good feeling that we were going to be in for some serious action over the next few days. Guys, I have a favour to ask. Now, if you're enjoying these videos so far, the best thing you can do for me is to watch till the very end. Obviously, I would also always appreciate a like and a subscribe if you're feeling extra generous. Now, I've got some big plans for this series, including dropping cameras on new locations. I'm also thinking about buying an underwater drone. And also, I'm probably going to get a full face mask so I can record audio underwater and take you guys with me. But in order to do that, I need all the support I can get. So thanks very much for watching so far, and let's get back to the video. So, we just got back from dropping the second camera. Really green, really cold, but we did see something really cool on the way down, so have a look at this. Now, unfortunately, there was a bit of a mishap at 40 meters underwater, which is never ideal, and I actually managed to break the bait cage somehow. So, when I was shaking the bait up, just before I left it, I pulled the end cap off, and I had to spend the next 2 minutes fishing around for the end cap inside the bait cage, which is never fantastic. Managed to fit it back on. I have absolutely no idea whether it's going to hold or not, and fingers crossed that something big doesn't come and try and pull it off. Would I quite like it if that happened though? Yeah, probably. So in order to appreciate the first thing we saw in this drop, we need to speed things up. Keep your eyes here. This is a crinoid, more commonly known as a feather star. There were also a couple of big giant trevallies about, although they didn't seem keen to get too close. These crinoids are related to starfish, urchins and sea cucumbers, and are often seen stationary on the reef here. Very occasionally you can see them out swimming, which is a real treat. For those of you that watched my last video, you'll also recognise this guy. This huge fish is a Malabar grouper, a large grouper that we rarely see anywhere else here on the island. We also had a visit from some longfin bannerfish, and without giving too much away, the presence of these fish is a really great signal that there might be something much bigger about. As before, the Malabar grouper made several approaches, although it was nice to see him accompanied by a big school of unicorn fish and a couple of other predators. One of the most remarkable things about these groupers is how spherical their eyes are. These guys have round lenses that are optimal for bending light, allowing them to see clearly underwater. A blubber-lipped snapper was also about, although I think the grouper put him off getting too close. Now, the presence of the longfin bannerfish that you saw earlier, combined with the really cold water, often brings up some ocean giants from the deep. Now, this next fish is not a new find for this channel, but it is a much better clip than the one we recorded before, so I was super happy when this fella showed up. So this is a Mola, the biggest bony fish in the sea. I would guess this one is probably about 2.5 meters from fin tip to fin tip. And this is a much better clip than the one we got before. Now going back to the small stuff, you can also see the Malabar grouper has a buddy. This is a remora, a fish that has a commensal relationship with big marine megafauna and can often be seen hitching a ride. Now, as if this drop couldn't get any better, we actually managed to record a new species on the hit list. I've actually seen this fish whilst diving before, but they are far from common and they're probably only seen a couple of times a year. This one is also really big and treated us to a fantastic show. This huge stingray is called a mangrove whipray, and is easily distinguishable by its pure white tail and the white flecks on its body. This is a new find for this channel, and definitely not something I was expecting to see so soon. This ray was incredibly inquisitive and spent a good amount of time around the bait cage trying to work out whether it was feeding time or not. Although, after a quick nose touch, he seemed to spook slightly and swam off. I hope we'll be seeing more of this ray in future videos. Following the ray's departure, a massive school of mackerel swam past. And the good thing is, when there's baitfish about, there's often sharks. Now, if you watched the first episode I posted in this series, you'll remember that I spoke a little bit about the fact that there were some big sharks that we used to see around here often that no one had seen in ages. So with that in mind, I really was not expecting to see what we saw in the last drop. Here's the footage from drop 3. The first fish that showed up was this trevally that I struggled to identify last time. After some investigation, I think these guys are called island trevally, otherwise known as false bluefin trevally. We actually saw these as we were swimming away from the camera, and they are absolutely enormous. The red snapper that we often see also checked out the camera a few times. Now, this next clip isn't the best clip I've ever seen, but one of the big changes I've noticed since I was last here was that the number of octopus seems to have decreased, and we are not seeing anywhere near the numbers we used to see. So it was really nice to see this big reef octopus crawling along the reef in the deep water, and crossing fingers for a better clip next time. Now, a few minutes later, I saw this big shadow move past the camera in the blue. Although I had my suspicions, I wasn't 100% sure what it was at first. But a few moments later, we were treated to the most amazing footage from perhaps one of the most majestic creatures in the ocean. Have a look at this. So this magnificent creature is a thresher shark, and is one of the main species on my hit list. After thinking these sharks had disappeared from this part of the Indo-Pacific, it was a massive relief to see one on the camera. And since this drop, there have been multiple reports of others seen around the island, so crossing fingers for plenty more footage like this. If you want to join me in the hunt for cool ocean creatures, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I cannot wait to see what we find next.